Hey, friends, a pleasant good evening. Welcome to Lions Live, the only network built by the players for you, the fans. Live here at State College because we're not a podcast and this program is not pre recorded. So great to be with you here on a Wednesday cool night in October. We got the big dude, Stephen Davis. My name's Skip Dribblebus. Glad you all could join us here. Expecting the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy, and Yakov Israel here to join us in a little bit. We'll get back to our picks. Covering a recap here of Penn State's game here this past weekend as well, and looking ahead to the next game here this weekend with Indiana. Big dude, it was great to see you and be with you here this past weekend at Penn State. And great homecoming. I loved everybody. It was great to see everybody. But I must say, a very difficult loss for us here against the Spartans of Michigan State. Really a heart-wrenching game and loss here this past weekend, buddy. But very thankful to see you and catch up with everybody, but man, it was a tough one to lose here at home for homecoming like that.
Yeah, I'll say very tough. It was difficult because you couldn't tell whether what team wanted it at first. It looked like we had control of the game. I still think while we were playing a perfect game, the defense, I will say it again, even though one young man, number 18, the 6'6" receiver in Michigan State, pulled down that ball over Amani. Amani had a really good game. Other than that, I mean, you got to give it to him. He went against an NFL receiver. But that's one of the things he mentioned. He said, this guy had me in check the whole game. He mentioned Amani about first name. He said, you know what? I had to at least make one of the plays. But I'll say throughout the game, there's a sense of, I think we all look at it. And with this year and run fast option, it's hard to tell it all. But what we realize is within Trace McSorley and everyone else, and we know that he has been the linchpin many times and will continue to be. But we just cannot expect him to continue to carry the load. And I think he feels like the belt's on his shoulders in certain situations it is. And, I think the defenses are prepared for him and want to finish the issue with Miles Sanders. And, still think the offensive line, and Pete Kirkendall was with him.
Yep.
It was very improved. We still got a lot of stuff we have to do. We kept McSorley pretty clean. We did rush. Sanders didn't have a big day, but he had enough. We did enough to win. When we have a lead like that, 17-14, it comes down to the end as well, Skip. I mean, we were right there, and I think it was you, myself, Eddie Johnson, Kirkendall. I mean, they were there, but they dropped. We dropped 3 interceptions. I mean, Joe used to always say, hey, you got to make a play. You got to make a play. And that's the truth. And, we had a few critical plays where the game was over 3 or 4 different times. We do make it difficult as well if Tracy doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. I give it to him. We're balling and doing all those things, trying to get the first down when we're in our territory, somewhere around the 30-yard line, where he does dive for the first down, but I'm thinking he's diving and he's staying in bounds. But if he dives and stays in bounds, then Michigan State has got to bring that last time out.
That's right.
Well, he dove and went out of bounds and saved them a timeout. We can say what if, there's several opportunities, and I'll say it again, as a type of athlete and coach and player that I was, there's only one way to win, and that is convincingly and putting the game away earlier. And there's certain situations that we did. And listen, Michigan State did not come to lose in that robberies. And I had to give that to them. The quarterback took a lot of hits. Our defense, like I said, has grown up tremendously. We've got to be heads up on certain things. I don't know what we got to do, Skip. I mean, this special teams thing with the kicker, we got to get that streak. And now people are starting to understand that Penn State doesn't have the range of the field goals. And I heard Eddie Johnson mention the term that the kicker hit the ball fell. First of all, what's going on and what the heck does that mean?
Well, actually, the ball sliced off his toe is what he did. He miskicked the ball. I didn't see the hold on it, but anytime you see the ball that starts to go off to the right, and it has a real fast rotation, and it seems like it's slicing right, it comes off. He's not hitting on the meat of his foot, but it's kind of ticking the ball from the toe. It's kind of like a golf swing where you're not hitting it in the center of the club, you're hitting it off to the right side and it slices. So he's kind of hitting it off his toe like that, and that's why the ball pushed right a little bit. and he missed it, but he was. It seemed like that was just a thing that was happening with him on that day. That's what I noticed with that kick. So it wasn't just that kick; it was a couple other kicks. Because even the one he did make, is pushing right a little bit too. So he wasn't his consistency in kicking the ball the same way every time. Which it doesn't matter where the ball's at, left, right, middle, an extra point or a 60-yard field goal. It's the same kick every single time. So he's just that consistency is not quite there yet. I felt
I keep forgetting the first-time freshman.
Yeah, first year out there.
Yeah, the great things ahead is just that we really have to lock that down and decide whether we give somebody else an opportunity. Because if we don't, then we're going to be where we're at. I know I didn't get a chance to get Coach Franklin's interview at the end. I'm sure it wasn't good, but I actually wasn't looking forward to listening.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't want to hear that one either. Hey, I think somebody. I can't tell if that's Yakov or if it's that DJ with us.
Who we got? Hey, it's cold.
Hey, Yakov. All right, buddy. I wasn't sure if DJ is going to make it in here with us tonight. I know Jimmy's running a little bit late. But we were talking here about the game, Yakov, and what's your thoughts, buddy?
Well, I mean, I like, I'm still looking at the offense. I mean, we definitely had the rushing yards. Sanders had some nice big runs. And, Michigan State definitely had a dominant receiver. Felt in that scored those 2 touchdowns towards the end of the game. And, I think offensively, receiver-wise, we've seen some guys step up. Actually, I'm so sorry. Yeah, give me 1 second. You got to jump in for me.
Okay, I will here, buddy. I'll pick that up. Yakov's talking about Felton Davis. He is an athlete. He made a great catch. He baited our guy down there, and was able to come back on that game-ending touchdown catch. So he was a great athlete. I give him that. He tore it up all day.
He was very, very humble at the end. I feel like his post-game interview, very humble. Now we gave Penn State their props, but Amani his props and doing it, and we don't want to mind. I still think Amani's one of the best. And I still would say he just got to believe it that he's one of the best in the country and believe it all the time. Not because he got beat, but it has nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the fact that he's got to really want them to come out of it. I think he even put him out of play, and he came back. I mean, Amani just snapped on him. And,
that was just a couple of plays before he came back to get that game-winning catch.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that.
We were down by that corner.
Right. I remember seeing him, and I, because we were talking, like, we were thinking, is this this guy's trying to work the clock for time, or are these guys, this guy are legitimately injured, and Pete was there with, no, these guys aren't milking that. That's, they were legitimate injuries for both those guys. And I actually watched I watched the game again last night. And, and I could see the injury take place for both of them. These guys weren't out there trying to,
Yeah, I mean, he landed on top of him.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised he got up after that, because the way I saw his leg bend, his leg got bent all kind of weird. I thought, man, this guy could be done. So,
right. Yeah, I was surprised to actually see him come back in the game. But, I think basically what we've got to really look at is, again, starting off fast. It was a difficult game. Let me tell you something. It was a hard-fought game, a hard-fought homecoming game. They usually lose homecoming games, and I still applaud Penn State for taking a game like that during homecoming and understanding what it's about, because that's what it's about. We had 106,000 fans over there. They were disappointed. They should have won. I just say, man, we just see what else we got every game. The next game is another game. As Joe would say, you're not as bad as you are when you lose. You're not as good as you are when you win. So that particular thing that's there. And then, like I said, the defense played really well. Now, I think what we're missing on defense, and Jimmy may or may not agree, I think we have the linebackers and the other folks that are there. We don't have that. I don't see, at least I could not identify them. Take charge linebacker. Maybe I missed it. I mean, you have 36 in there. I can't remember his name. And then you have You have Ken Brown, and then you got Cole Farmer. So and they were playing a lot, and of course you got number 11, the kid from Harrisburg. So they're all playing, and you're playing a lot of different people. People, I think, question too, how often do you do match substitutions and everything, but you can't say much because it worked the whole game for the most part, and the plays were made, and when they drove, everything was in. Although you could tell Skipper, us being out in that corner with their quarterback looking over at Davis. I mean, he just got right there and looked at Davis and said, "You know what, man, go get it." I mean, we're standing right there, and there was no secret that I guess if you're man-to-man and you got to stand man-to-man a lot of times when the closer you get down there, you can't play zone, it's a touchdown. But, you put the ball in the right place, the kid, you make the right jump, we all yell, blah, I mean, listen, it is a tough loss, but I don't want those young folks to really understand and believe that their season is ruined by any imagination.
No, they've had a great season already.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, they'll make it through more.
Right.
It's
It's not going to get any easier. You got to suck it up. You got to suck it up. And, hey, this is college football, man. I mean, any given week and any given Saturday, to run the table today, no matter who you are, it's really hard. Everybody's out to get you. I mean, you got teams like Appalachian State that come in and want to knock you off right away from the very start. And no team out there isn't going to try to make a name for themselves the way they play against a team like Penn State. So even this week coming up, Indiana is not going to be an easy game. We're playing at Indiana, and these guys, they want to take their whacks at us as well. They've had a hard time with us year after year, and they thought, well, hey, we want our turn now. So it's not going to get any easier. We have Michigan after that. So the heat's turned up. We're going to be playing Purdue back home here. It's going to be a difficult finish up of the season. Nothing's going to get any easier. And every team each week keeps getting better. So
they do. And I think that's the thing that we recognize. I think State people have got to look at just how much better they're getting all the time. And there's small stuff, of course, that we have to be able to do to do better. I mean, we got, for example, the other play that hurt us. Oh gosh, what was it, like a 35-yard run that we had them pinned in our territory and they get us on a fake foot. Taking the linebacker's responsibility to see that, watch the fake, and gosh, if that guy had nothing but green to run, and I think that play, if you ask them, all of us are the ones that hurt us, and we can put any statistic out there that really hurt us, that fake punt in the fact that
they almost did it with that field goal too. That field goal, they almost got away with it. I mean, if it wasn't from jumping up and knocking out away, they had us on the field goal.
Right, and the other thing is, and a young player, we don't get into it because we're not going to do that on the radio. But hey, we'll tell the truth, man. We got young people on defense.
Yep.
Well, first of all, if you got 3rd and 1 from the 1, now we're watching, and we stop them, and it's going to be 4th and 1. I really don't think they were too sure whether they could make it. I mean, that's one thing I learned from Joe as well. He used to say, you know what, when the kids aren't too sure, that's when you got to get them.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what you meant by it. When they weren't sure about scoring on 4th and 1, I guarantee you. And then we get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the 1 yard line.
I know. Well, yeah, we
set up there.
No, that was a son of one of our teammates from 30 years ago.
Yeah, we know who it was.
Oh yeah, I won't call him out, but hey, God love him, man. He's going to learn from that one.
Well, and let me tell you something. I'm of the opinion that. And I got to give Coach Franklin credit because a lot of places he would not have gone back in the game.
Right.
And listen, Skip, I don't have a problem telling you who it was. I mean, the his dad talked about it. It was C.J. Thorpe, who actually had been playing offense, and it came as really a 4 or 5-star offensive lineman. Wants to play, is behind some people. So Coach Franklin didn't use it in their defense. And here's the good news that comes out of all that. Everybody says it's not good news. It's totally good news. Look at that depth on defense. That defensive line now is starting to come along.
He's going to be a great player. I know, just like his dad.
Oh, yeah.
I remember this day, Steph, and I know you were there too. We were over at Beaver Stadium, and when Chris got hurt, and next thing you know, they're bringing an ambulance there and they're carting him off, man. And that was the end of his dad's career there that Saturday at Beaver Stadium. We were there for a scrimmage. And I remember that, man. And I'll tell you, it was a scary moment because, to this day, Chris still suffers from that injury. Physically,
he actually came back. He actually wasn't his last game.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I remember when they carted him off there and they immobilized him. I thought, oh man, this is bad. This was bad. And but to this day, that injury is a haunting injury, and he's still in pain as an older man, like we are, as a result of that injury that day.
Right.
So I feel for him, and I see him. I got to be careful going petting him on the back or giving him a hug, because I'm like, you don't want to hurt the man, because you can see he's in pain. You can see he's in pain. So.
Let me say this about Scooby, as we call him.
Yeah.
Listen, man, he has every right and every reason. That's what I said to him. He was like, hey, man, I got to work with him, keep his head together. But you know what I said to him? This is a start, and at least we got something to talk about here. We got something to compare to. We got something to work with. And,
I don't think you don't have to say anything. I say just give him a hug, love him, and say, hey, man, go get him. That's all I can do,
Yeah, but one thing about Scooby is you do realize Scooby's going to say what he wants to say.
Oh, I know that. I mean, he's a good dad. I know that. He's not going to, he and his son have their way about him. They'll be all right.
Well, but I mean, looking at it overall, there were parts earlier when we beat ourselves. The young man, Davis, didn't make the last play. But yes, he did. Now, who was it that came in? Did you have somebody come back in?
I don't know if that was Jimmy or if that was Cove.
Hey, it's Cove.
How are you, Cove?
So, Cove, let me ask you a question for that. Now, we were all standing down there on that last play with Davis that he made. I'm glad you brought it up. Tell me about the technique and what happened, or what that Amani was using, Amani and Raw. I mean, was it bad technique, or did the kid just make the play? Tell us about it. I mean, when a quarterback, I don't know what you saw. When a quarterback's going after you, the quarterback is under center. The quarterback just looks at the receiver. What are you doing? You keep it from going inside, and you know it's going to the end zone. What happened, and what should have happened?
Well, I would say, in that particular case, that was his second touchdown in the fourth quarter. So, he had already had a mental edge just because he had that prior touchdown, and he gained even more of an edge because there was no help. So he was by himself, one-on-one, and they didn't get enough pressure, obviously, to, disrupt the throw, to the extent, so basically it was just a tough situation for him, for anybody to go against. I mean, as a receiver, I was recruited as a receiver, but as a receiver, number one would be, one-on-one with the corner, kind of up on me a little bit, with no help over top, so that
was going to be my question. Should he, it seemed like it was a quick pass, because I got to remember they were on the 29-yard line, so how fast can the safety get over, or even if you're playing man, that's what I'm saying. Was that man? It looked like it was man, so where?
Well, it looked like he kept him outside. It looked like he kept him outside on the play. So he looked like he wasn't going to let him inside.
Yeah, really, what we have to realize is he is, it's just a shot that we took. He's their best receiver that they have, and, we had him on our best corner, and we just took a shot, obviously, in that situation, it's going to be a toss-up every time. I don't think we could have said, what it could have been, because if you put him in that situation 10 times, he's going to make plays.
Yeah, we're going to get 10 different results. Here's the thing I wondered. Here's what I wondered too, you Cove.
It's just a matter of time when he's going to make the next big play.
Right, because I think he did his job, because if that ball, I think the ball was underthrown, because he had him covered for the deeper pass to the end zone. Okay. What they didn't expect was the ball being short and him having to come back to get it.
And see, that's the thing, you know, when you have, like I said, a corner that doesn't have any help. Now, had they been able to make him throw the ball on the line, you know, then the corner might have had a better shot. But he could have gone either way. He could have overthrown it or underthrown it, and the corner would have had to deal with both of them. You know, so it's just, you know, when you're going against a guy with that type of caliber, he's going to make plays regardless. It's just, you know, it's a matter of if we can make it on that specific play. But, you know, he's a great receiver. He's done that to us last year as well. He scored on us in the fourth quarter.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. When you jumped off real quick, I just want to make sure you heard, so I wasn't being too critical, that I still think that Amani is one of the best in the country. That's what I want to make sure. So Coach Franklin was always, like I said on this show, it's everybody's expertise, and that's what I rely on. You know, one of the things we talk and go back and forth is leadership and what leadership means. And part of leadership is about relying on the experts. To me, leadership will be determined by you relying on your experts. And I think that's what we still want to do, but I'm just hoping that, you know, when you have a young ball player, like no one wants to give up the last touchdown or nothing, but I just hope that he doesn't stay down. You know, it's one thing people yelled when he was a little upset, you know, he's on the ground and they're like, get up. That's the other thing that's different. Like, man, get up, man. Yeah, I think put your head up high. Because you played good. I still think he played well. I mean, he played against one of the best. That guy's an NFL receiver. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we were there with Eddie. Eddie was yelling at him, get up.
Yeah.
You know, I know, and there's a difference today, too, because we were there talking with Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson, folks, 86, 87 national championship team D-back. And we were talking about how much has changed because you can see the way they're playing and the way they're hitting because, you know, back in Eddie's day, he'd go up and he'd rock those guys to the point where they wouldn't even think about trying to go for the ball. Just a totally different game today than it was then.
Yeah, that total secondary, the tallest guy then, Yaakov, was Duffy Collins, 5'10". I mean, you had Ray Hyson that was 5'9". You had Eddie that was 5'8", 5'9". You had Marcus Henderson that was maybe 5'9" and a half. So I think the fact they call our DBs then all you saw the Smurfs. That's what they used to call them.
That's right.
But you know what?
I remember.
The Smurfs, when we shut Michael Irvin, I mean, we didn't shut him all the way down because some of those guys made plays too. Michael Irvin did not score that day, I don't think.
No, and they looked twice because they got the happy feet and they started looking before they were trying to catch the ball because they knew they were going to get cracked one. So
most of those hits were legal hits.
They were all legal hits. Now by today's standards, they probably wouldn't be.
It's close, but I mean, the philosophy was, I'm sure he told you all the same thing. When we got good receivers, they're going to make their catches. He said, catch it, not the crap out of them. Don't catch it, not the crap out of them. Not catch it, not the crap out of them again. That was the whole thing about the defense, man. And we got to figure out legally how we can do it. Now, that's the question that I was going to ask you. I told now, how are the safeties playing? You got Nick Scott and you got the other guy, number 5. I can't remember his name. How are they playing? So, wait. Now, how are the safeties playing for Penn State? The safeties, Nick Scott and the other people that were playing. Number 17, he's a tall. We had those safeties up here. He's a big safety, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I feel the secondary. They're a young secondary, and this is the first year that they're dealing with all these types of offenses. I mean, so they're playing off of their athleticism right now. They're playing off of their instincts, more so. But obviously, they are definitely getting better. But like you said, we dropped a couple interceptions that we could have had. There was one against Ohio State I feel, or maybe even Michigan State, I feel that number 21 dropped. So I just feel like that's something that we've got to, I feel like it just takes time for that unit to get a rhythm with our coverage, but it is tough nowadays because the teams are throwing the ball a lot more than they used to. So we gotta let that one roll off our shoulder and just keep moving and not let not dwell on them, because it's a lot of those happening more nowadays that were that they're touchdown passes winning games, so but I would say I feel like they're doing a good job. I just feel like we still need some more experience. I feel I feel like we haven't peaked yet. I wouldn't say we peaked yet, but I would say we're definitely getting much better.
A couple thoughts I had, things I noticed. We talked a little bit about in the sidelines there, Stefan, with Peter and everybody was, and then we picked up on earlier, and we mentioned, and of course then it happened, was the screen. I said I'm surprised that Michigan State has not run a screen because of the way our defense was playing. And we know more. Well, we know more. We talked about it, and then they hit us hard with it, and because that's one of the vulnerabilities we picked up on the sidelines that we were talking. I thought, wow, if they run a screen, we'd be in trouble. And of course, I think they noticed that too, and of course they did. So on the offensive side, my concern is on the offensive side of what I see again as my concern, which I've said all along this year, is we've not had one. I don't think we've had but maybe one drive where we got the ball at the 20 and drove consistently the whole way down steadily, eating up the clock for a touchdown. It seems like we're a quick one or two play type of offense, springing a big play here for a score, and that's great. But when it comes to a point in the game when you're ahead by a couple of touchdowns, when you need to be able to have an offense that's going to have a long sustaining drive that eats up the clock, that puts the other team in a position where the pressure's on them to try to hurry up and score. And I just don't see us there yet with that. That's the one thing that I think we're lacking yet is that. And and again, I was saying, if you want to stop Penn State, you put 5 guys rushing from the line and send 2 backers, and you force the run or you force the pass against Penn State, and you shut them down effectively, because either McSorley's not going to be able to pass or get away in time, or if he tries to run it, you're going to have 2 other guys ready to tackle him. And I think a lot of teams are picking up on that, and I think that's why we're struggling like we are in some of these games, because we've become somewhat predictable. That's just one of my observations that I wanted to make there, and I hope that they start to mix it up a little bit more and change things around a little bit, because we don't want to be predictable.
Well, here's what I say, Skip. I agree with that to a certain level, but again, when we're doing this, and I guess I'm not so sure that you had this when you played this whole world with run pass option, and I'm not sure you had to be. I guess you had to defend it at some point, perhaps. Maybe it's allowed to read it, but I'm not familiar with exactly. There's a way to prepare for it, but when you have a leader like Trace McSorley, first of all, I still put all the money in the world on him, man.
He's a game player, man. He's a player. He's an athlete. There's not taken away from anybody. We got great athletes here at Penn State.
But what I'm saying is, we cannot rely on him 80% of the time to be that guy. We can't. I think we're at the point where we have to find out about us. Jerry said, at times we just got to find out about how it is. Got to find out about who it is, who wants to do what. And I think that's what I like. What I saw with Jansen, that's his name, and linebacker number 36. He's getting there. Jansen is. You see it. And then things just don't work out, so you got to move on. And I'm understanding. I guess I thought maybe you could confirm it. And Skip, that we're not. It was disappointing when I'm finding out we don't have number 43 Manny pulling back. I just think to myself, wow, he's going to be back, and now I'm understanding that it just unfortunately didn't work out again. So you know, we know that Cohen Farmer is that guy that has the longest tenure, but is he going to be the person that's going to really dictate what's going on in the middle? And then the D line, like I said, we're talented, we're young, you know, now we're playing and turning it up. We're beating a lot of the offensive line from off the corner. I think that a lot of the offensive linemen in the Big Ten are very surprised that the pass rush, not so much from people like Sharif Miller, but just from other people that come in the game. And then we start to see 99 coming in and just playing. I wonder why he was. I said, well, what's happening to the shocker? And then the shocker splitting time and looking at what's going on. We just keep building depth because all those folks are going to be ready more and more and more and more. That's what I see. And I'm just hoping that, you know, we start to take it game by game again, like Coach Franklin would say, and may have said in tweeting, Indiana 1-0, Indiana 1-0, Indiana 1-0. Guess what, Coach? We got you. No problem. Indiana 1-0. So that's where we are. And that's what's so unique about Coach Franklin because he had a lot of people. This is the part that people overlook. The general fan overlooks that he had a lot of people ready to play. You know, because usually we look at a certain number of things. That's what reminded me really about we're like the 85 team. We weren't scoring a whole lot of points. We were really strong offensively in some ways. We had the athletes. You had Michael Timpson. You had Ray Roundtree and people like that. And you know, and you had Brian Seidman and Dean Dominio. So you had all those people. You know, and on defense, you just keep naming them all besides Pete Miche and Brick and Timmy Johnson and of course DJ Dozier.
Right.
You know, who's there just being able to enjoy him and his mentality and knowing that, you know, he's going to advance. So all those guys together, and then having two fullbacks, you don't realize what it was now the fullback position is an anomaly. We don't have fullbacks. So we had two fullbacks in the third round, first pick and second pick. Steve Smith and Timmy Miller drafted one behind the other. That shows you about Penn State's program in depth. So if Steve got hurt, he can carry the load. If Tim got hurt, he could carry the load. And then DJ, and then of course there's my classmate, my high school mate, David Clark.
Yeah, I talked to him this week.
Yeah. So it's getting over that hump and they're almost there. And I'm with you, Coach. You know, that. And I'm glad you gave us that expertise out there because people have to understand what it is, you know, to be in that corner and to have some, you know what I mean. You got to have some big ones to play out there in that space like that. And that's what I've given them. And if there's anything that I saw that people weren't afraid to make mistakes, I'll give it to them. You know. Now, here's my question, Jacob. Now, I think I got it right. I don't know if you heard me. Now, that straight punt that they got, I think that play hurt us more almost than anything in the game that changed the momentum. Because I think if we hold them there, we're about to start to put the stranglehold on. Now, now on defense, fourth and long? I mean, who's the one saying, watch the fake? Is it the middle linebacker? Who's saying it? Because there doesn't seem to be any communication, and the guy gets a 30-yard thing. Yeah, now you as the coordinator. Now, who would you make sure that you scored on that one?
Well, I mean, you know, really, you know, I mean, I feel like that you talking about in the early, like in the first half, that fake. Yeah. Now, see, my thing is, I feel like they had the blocking scheme that, regardless of what we said, we couldn't even have done anything.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like we had one player had an opportunity that was like the middle, or like the kind of deep safety, not the deepest guy, but there was one guy inside of him, but he was probably 20 yards off the ball, and he was the only one that really had an opportunity. But definitely, you know, I mean, it definitely has to be one of the middle guys, you know, one of the second level guys, I guess you could say. They would have to be watching it. You know, my ends maybe would have to be watching. But you know, you got to make calls when they're pulling. You know, when they're pulling, you know, the guards pulling, the tackles pulling. You know, make calls. So, but you know, it was they had us. You know, scheme wise, it was very much.
They got to give them credit.
Yeah. They definitely did a good job scheme wise, and everybody got to their blocks. And you know, but I do agree though, big dude. I do feel like if we were, you know, it was we were off guard. I definitely feel like we were chasing. You know what I mean? We were trying to catch up or get back where we were supposed to be. So you know, I definitely do feel they had an advantage on us because we you know, maybe we didn't see it or we weren't calling it. So, but that's players definitely could fall asleep. You know, and
that's what I'm looking at. I mean, and this is what I mean by having a take charge linebacker, because certainly the take charge linebacker, you know, sees themselves as a quarterback, and maybe that's what we're going to have in Kansas. Because one of the things we realize is all the stuff that happens to you in sports, as I told my daughter years ago, you know, she went to the foul line and had a solid game, you know, but missed free throws, man, and they ended up losing by one. You know, the first thing I said to her was very upset. I said, you know, not a whole lot I can say. I said, what? I said, because now you're a ball player. Now you got some strengths. Now you got some things that, you know, principles and things to go by. And that doesn't always come in a win. I think that's what Joe was talking about. Those things don't come in the win all the time, you know. It's trying to figure out whether you want to have that feeling again. You know, I did. Like you said, I told my daughter I love this stuff. So I said, hey, now you got to go tomorrow to shoot before practice, before start taking some free throws. Don't worry about anybody else. And you know, you start to take a look at what you did, and at that point, that was a change for the season, and they ended up going, you know, to the playoffs. And I think they ended up going from winning 11 games to 20 games to 23 games. So there's stuff to build on. So I'm actually more excited about what it is people don't know we have. Penn State still has an outstanding team that is that far away. And it's still, did they say when we dropped that? I didn't even look. Did they say Yaakov?
Yes, we are in the teams. Let me just see.
I don't think that was fair.
Let me see. Now, I did want to make a mention, though, kind of piggybacking a little bit off of Skip. I feel the team, like time of possession, I feel like, you know, it's something, and I was just going to mention from the game, we had a total time of possession of 25 minutes, 48 seconds. They were 34 minutes and 12 seconds. First half, they had 18 minutes. And first half, we had 11 minutes. So, you know, they did go under center. And you know,
here's the thing.
I'm not sure.
Yakov, here's the thing. You know, they had sustainable drives. They had 11 more first downs than we did.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot. See, and you got to go into bread and butter to even it up, because what hasn't happened. We know we have speed. We know we have athleticism. Again, this is about, you know, the quarterback having probably 65 to 70% of the autonomy. This is what I mean about run pass option here. It takes to get somewhat out of the coach's hands. If you got to trust that person, kind of like you did your point guard basketball, which is a little different. I mean, always was like that in football. And Coach Franklin, he's a quarterback himself, so he knows a lot of trust has been built. But you know, what we keep doing is, again, we got long runs. I mean, we got those long runs Miles thought of, man. Like, boy, I'm thinking at 235 pounds, man, he's trucking. That's what I meant by big game, but not great. He had the long runs, but we gotta expect him to get those tough yards, and he has to get them. And you know what? When it comes down to it, you do want the ball in his hands, but when it comes down to it, I want the ball in either of their hands. And
let me just ask you guys this real fast. No, I appreciate that, big dude. Now with the offense being shotgun all game, you know, like Michigan State, they came in under center, double tight, and they were going downhill, you know, in the goal line in the red zone. Now, do you feel like if we had that component, that might mentally help us to say, okay, now we need to control this offense a little more, or not? Because I'm wondering if by us always being in the shotgun, when we do need to slow it down and ramp it up, maybe we're having trouble, you know, whereas if we had a separate offense that was more of a ball control offense, you know, we could maybe turn it on and off a little bit better. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, you know, I know what Skip's going to say, so I'm going to let him go first.
We were talking on the sidelines. I kept saying, I said, why are we throwing to the tight end? Why do we get a big guy down the middle?
And that's what I say out of it. And I think you're right, Jacob. I think that sometimes mixing it up, I think what Skip is saying is, if you're good enough to go do what you need to do, you know, regardless of whether you're under center or not, I think it's helpful, but it's good to mix it up. It's good to find out about the offensive line, because they become better when people know that the person's under center, and they know that number 24 is going to get the ball, and they know it's going to be a certain dive play, and they're going to get 5, 6 yards. It doesn't matter what people do. That's the part we're missing. I would say if we start to get, that's what I mean by start fast. Some people think I mean start fast is, and it does mean you get big play and you want to do it. But having a sustainable drive, and I do agree with Skip fundamentally. Yes, I do. Well, we have to be able to beat them up on that first series. You know, if you get big play, and you're not going to get anything from KJ, and you're not too sure about, you know, Juwan and what's going to happen, and everybody else, and Buck and Hopkins, all those guys are there. Boy, trying to get those 5 guys in to just make sure that they can't wait, and they're looking at their chops. To start off, I mean, to answer your question, Jacob, starting off, beating them up, trying to get to that, and you know how it is. I mean, you've been on defense. If we know, they were giving us opportunities, and they were getting there, but man, when you give people opportunity like I saw on ground level, they were just asking us to come to the second level of linebackers, man. Don't get a snack on them, go take them down, you know, inside leg, something like that to just let them know we can run on you whenever we want. Right? That's going to be a championship team.
Well, and did you notice Michigan State came out, and that's what the teams that have beaten us, the important games. Ohio State did it. Michigan State's done it. Those teams that are beating us like this in these important games, that's what they start out the game doing. They start out there saying, okay, here's where we are. We got our big boys up here. Now we're going to see if you can stay with us. And they immediately start out trying to sustain themselves and consistently just come and pound you and pound you and pound you. You throw the ball when you need to. You throw it when it's there. And if you get the big play, that's great. But you know, Jacob, I think the concern I have, and again, we have yet to see a snap under center yet of McSorley this year. You get down to the 1 yard line, you know, you're 3 feet away from the end zone. You're actually allowed to assist a runner. Okay. So what I don't understand is, why do you want to put the guy back to the 5 yard line or 6 yard line just to get the ball and then give it to somebody to try to run up when you know the defense is going to be coming at you and already could get penetration through 1 to 2 yards before you even get back the line of scrimmage. I don't understand why you just don't get your center under there. You get 2 more linemen to come back in to be like fullbacks and just grab him and throw him over top.
and see, this is another thing too, because sometimes sometimes when it's a philosophy or, you know, a core value type of thing, you know, teams say, okay, we're going to stay in this regardless, no matter what, no, rain, snow, shine, you know. So I don't know if it's that type of thing or not, because sometimes, you know, offenses might just say that we're just going to, we're not coming out of it no matter what. I don't know. But I definitely do feel, though, that controlling, I was going to say, I definitely feel that controlling that clock and winning the time of possession is something I feel, you know, is part of the championship team as well. I think we got to be able to win that. And I don't know, you know, just from looking at Michigan State, it doesn't, I'm not sure if we have that capability to win the time of possession, or if we have that type of offense where we can control the clock a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Well, and the flip side of that on the defense is when another team's able to have those long sustained drives, that we don't get gassed at the end of the game, because that, like we were at Ohio State. You know, the big concern is being able to have, again, I've mentioned this throughout the season, is you're running McSorley like this around quite a bit, and all it takes is just one good hit, and he's out of the game. And are we prepared and ready for that? Do we really want to risk that when we got these other running backs? If we're going to run the ball, let's give it to the backs. That's what they're there for. That's what we're recruited for. Okay. I mean, again, like I said, if you want to shut down Penn State, you put 5 guys down. All right. You have the 2 guys, you got your 2 ends out there. They got contained, so nobody gets outside. You have 2 backers coming straight at them every play. You do that every single play of every single game. You won't have the time to pass it. And if they give the ball to the running backs, they're not getting far. Their offense is that predictable. It is that easy to shut them down, and you know, teams are picking up on it and they're starting to do it because it's that type of offense you're running. I think you got to mix it up. That's just my personal opinion. You got to really start trying to change things. If you want to run I love the option offense. One of my favorite teams is Georgia Tech. Those guys will come at you in all types of different types of option plays. And I love the option. I love seeing a run game. My concern is, when we're trying to run it like this, if you're truly going to be an option team, then let's truly get some big boys up here on the line, and let's try to pound that ball at you by running the ball.
Mm-hmm. And see, another thing too, I was going to say is, by us being in the shotgun, you know, are we actually, you know, are we getting everything out of it? I guess, you know, I don't know. I'm just wondering how, you know, just, is this offense in a low scoring game? You know, how does this, because if we're in low scoring games, does this offense now kind of become work against us, you know, or what? How do we deal with the low scoring games? Because that's kind of what we have to, you know, we have to be good at. You know what I mean? Like a 21-17 game, you know, our offense, where does it fit in? You know, how can we, you know, control or what? I mean, what do you guys think? It's a low scoring game.
Well, you bring up a good point here, Yakov, and I think that's something we can touch on here in just a couple seconds here. So just give me a couple seconds here, folks. We're up here with our hard break, so we'll be right back here. You're listening to Lions Live and the Forever Lions Network. Please stand by.
.com at 106.3 FM and 970 AM. WBLF Bellefonte State College. 292 EZ. Altoona Bellefonte State College. Local news, sports, and weather. WBLF. Depend on it.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to Lions Live, Forever Lions Network, the only network built by the players for the fans. This is not a podcast, and this is brought to you live. It's not pre-recorded. You're listening to the big dude, Stephen Davis. Yakovi's my name's Skip Dribblebus. We're hoping to get Jimmy on here tonight. He's been tied up a little bit, and DJ as well, but I got their picks. We're going to be touching on that. And Yakovi, you're bringing up a good point here, and we can maybe kind of close it out with that and try to get into our picks.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about, obviously when we score 35, 45, 50 points, but in the games when it's like it was, where it's 17, or 20, in the final is 21-17, how do you guys feel our offense, how can we survive in those types of games? So what do you guys think?
I'll be real quick with that. I think right now with this type of offense that we're running, I personally see it as a liability and not necessarily an asset, because again, the biggest problem we're running into here is having long, sustainable drives on the ground. We seems like we're always trying to pick up a big play in here, and that's great. But let's try to make it establish that run game and force them to respect us and come up on us. So then when we do pass it, we can beat them. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to analyze it that much, other than the fact that we kind of put things in our tool belt to make things better, and but that's something that's normal. Not just with Penn State, with every other team that played. We saw what happened out of Alabama. They were very big, and all of a sudden that guy too, and he gets smacked upside his head, and he thought that was not as easy either. And you know what? They still yet to play the SEC championship. So I really got to give these young folks credit. One thing about them is they won the games they were supposed to win. I can't tell you that I see that as an issue at all. I just think that those games against help build the depth. Where we, finally out what it is in the Big Ten, and this is where I really believe right now the Big Ten is the conference right now.
It is.
It's not even just the conference, even necessarily both players and NFL. When we start talking about the Big Ten, we're talking about intense competition. We're talking about anybody in there that can win. The disparities between people and the what is it called? We don't say disparities between the team and talent. They're even with the academic, quote unquote academic institutions, it's there, and we should just look at what's next for Penn State, and we know that they have those strikes. And no, Indiana's not going to be easy, but and again, I will get to the pick. I think because of what we went through, Skip, I think we're going to handle Indiana a little easier than people think, because we've had our backs against the wall. We let a couple get away. That's not good, but that goes to show you we should have won. So we should have beaten Ohio State. We should have beaten Michigan State. Now, and just knowing that you should go out there and win, I think is going to be important. Whether we win by 60 or 20 or 10 or 2, we saw it. 5 points is between Penn State being undefeated. I think that's what we have to remember.
Well, we're close. We're close. I want to get to that when we get to Penn State. We talk this game. Let's get back. Let's give a quick recap, real quick, on how last week went for us, and we'll get through our games here. We'll hit that one right as we wrap it up here with our picks about Penn State, Indiana as well. Good segue there, Stefan. All right, hey, and we're in here. Last week was week 7, guys, and as our picks went, the big dude was 6-1, only missed.
All right.
Yeah, and it's one we all missed. It was Penn State. We all picked Penn State to win. We all picked it close. We all picked it as a closer game. With Jimmy had a higher score, and you, Yakov, had him at 41-20. We all had lower scores. The big dude and DJ and myself, but we all missed Penn State on that one. And other than that, Stefan had all the right picks all through the week. So our stats changed a little bit here. I'm actually only up by 1 game now at 48-14, and the big dude 47-15, and Jimmy's at 46-16, and of course Yakov, you hurt yourself pretty good here, man, picking Illinois over with that Purdue.
I know. I was trying to find a way to scratch my way out,
but hey, you know what? It's still a close race. You're 3 off from me. 1 off from Jimmy, 2 off from the big dude. I mean, it's a tight race here, man. This can go in a lot of different directions. And just wait till we get to the bowl games, man. I mean, it'll be all over the place. But I got DJ's picks for us. I also got Jimmy's picks for us. I'll be reading them off tonight here as we go along, picking our picks this week here. And week 8, folks, we're into this, and we start out with Michigan versus Michigan State.
I'll tell you what, that was a big win for Michigan State. Hey, listen, this is where I kind of spin around on my heels a little bit. Look here, man. I think Michigan State's on a roll. I know Michigan has got their guy Peoples, that quarterback. I forget his name, number 2. He came from Mississippi. Anyway, I'm going to take Michigan State in a close one.
Wow. Okay.
I'm taking Michigan State Spartans. Not just because I think that this win has done something for them. I'm not going to say there's nothing stopping them. Wow. But I think that Michigan State, with that win, it changed their whole season. It really is.
That was a signature win. And it was a big week. And without getting back into the Penn State here real quick, but, Penn State had a whole bye week to get ready for them. And Michigan State came in here, and they played a team that was prepared and spent an extra week preparing for them, and they beat them. So I think it was a big win for Michigan State. I could see how you could do that, big dude. I don't, but again, Michigan seems like they're starting to put the gas on the pedal, and
Lately I mean, they haven't got punched in the throat. Michigan State got punched in the throat, and they were able to pull that game out. After losing. And remember, Michigan State, in a loss, this is what I mean, Skip. After a loss, this is my whole point. Dude, after a loss, we saw Penn State. I'm thinking that we'll get to Penn State later. I think Penn State can respond well. That loss to Northwestern that Michigan State had, it hurt, and they felt like they didn't want that type of feeling anymore. And let me tell you something. I think Michigan State's going to try to find a way to win. I just got a feeling.
Wow.
I'm going to go
at the Big House. He's picking Michigan State to upset Michigan at the Big House.
At the Big House.
Wait, dude. Michigan State. What's that Michigan State?
That's okay. See, we put too much into it. When was the last time we had lost for homecoming? And who all picked Penn State? We all did. Man, listen, you either ball or you're not balling, man. I mean, they could be the Road Warriors, man.
Wow.
They could be the Road Warriors. And I want to say, before they become the Road Warriors, I'm going to pick Michigan State a whole lot more.
No kid. They're a tough team. We were saying that on the sidelines, and every time Michigan comes here, no matter who it is, it's and this is a big game for them, folks. I just hopped online here, man. Seats are going right now, even online here for 112, 114, 21, 30. Man, these ticket prices are going up for the Big House, and this is going to be one of their biggest games this year at the Big House, folks. So a great game to watch. Saturday.
Hey, now that was at Michigan State.
Oh, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. My bad. Yes, East Lansing. My bad. Spartan Stadium, East Lansing. Yeah. No, sorry. I was looking on here. Yeah, they're selling out, folks. So if you want to try to get a ticket, the prices are spiking.
Yeah.
That's what the seats are throwing here online. Thanks for
I'm going to go with Michigan. I'm going to go with
Michigan. Yeah, Jimmy went for Michigan, and so did DJ. And that's a tough call.
Well, and again, no, I'm not a fan.
That's not good about being a fan. I look at this as
hey, listen, this is Radio State College, man. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
You're gonna have it here, buddy. You're all good, man. You're amongst family. It's good.
It might carpet me with a 2'7" giant, man. I don't want that.
That's too good. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm half tempted to go along with you, Stephen. I mean, you brought some, and it is at Michigan State. So I was originally going to pick Michigan, but I think big dude, you talked me into it. I'm going to go with Michigan State as well. I think I'm joining you now. Yeah, no, I'm going with you on that one. I was going to pick Michigan just because I saw them playing well. I'm just looking at the two teams, but I think you brought up a good point, Stephen, that Penn State gave them a game. Penn State had an extra week to get ready for Michigan State, and they went at them, and they came here, and they showed themselves that they're doing what it takes to try to win. So I think
Yeah,
it's
they were very fortunate. Now I think they're going to play like they really.
yeah.
We had that stuff. That's all it's
Oh,
different.
that's a big momentum. I mean, that is a big time win. You're right. They came back and in an important game became a spoiler. Like I think they're going to carry that momentum. I think you're right. So I'm going with you. I'm going with you. You talked me into it. Cove, you want to change your mind?
Let's stick with the Wolverines.
Okay, buddy. All right, I got you. Well, next, what we have up here is Maryland and Iowa, and I don't think that's a no-brainer there, so I'm just going to type in Iowa for you guys. And by the way, folks, this is all, you can see it. This is actually live right now on lineslive.com. You can actually see our picks. And as I'm entering them in here, folks, they're right on our website, the homepage. Just follow our picks. You can see them. Next, we have, and of course, DJ and Jimmy picked them as well. So everybody across the boards with Iowa. Next, we have Yakov, and I think this will be one for you here. Maybe you want to think about Illinois and Wisconsin. Illinois and Wisconsin.
That was a soft blow. That was a soft blow.
Give it up, baby. Give it up, man.
I got to go. I got to go with Wisconsin. I got to go with Wisconsin.
You've seen the light.
Okay. I think I didn't use them up. I don't know.
You have, man. Hey,
hard, maybe. I worked pretty hard.
Coach Grady is going to be very upset with you.
That's great. Yeah, he'll be saying, his buddy will be saying, "You big dummy." You big dummy.
Oh, friend. Yeah, man. I have a lot of respect for Lovey this season. I have a lot of respect for Coach.
Yeah.
But you know something else? You have to take that job and be willing to do all the way to the end regardless. And that's why I still think the silver lining. It could happen in that program. I hope they keep him because he's the right guy.
Oh, yeah, great coach.
And let me tell you something, man. Academic school, you got to have people that are going to take knocks on the head, man. And he's ready. And it just isn't the time yet, though. The time has not come yet.
He's a great coach. I can't, don't look at the wins and losses when you consider the quality coach for sure in that regard with this team because quality guy, quality program. He's brought class there. I think he's working hard at it. But you're right, man. It's a Big Ten school. It's more of an academic school. It's not easy to try to make it happen in this conference. So God love him, God bless him. But as long as we always win, right? Anyway, hey, we got a Northwestern and Rutgers, and please don't tell me anybody's going to take Rutgers.
Well, I can't say that my man Isaiah Pacheco from Vineland did get his first touchdown last week. I'll leave it at that and say that he's going to get another one. It's just not going to be anyone.
There you go. Well, DJ and Jimmy both picked Northwestern in that one. I think Yakov, you're in with Northwestern in that one.
Yeah,
we're all in that one too. And this one's kind of going to be a little bit interesting here. It's Minnesota and Nebraska, and Jimmy picked Nebraska, and DJ picked Minnesota on this one. What are you guys thinking on that?
Well, you know what? Nebraska with the triple overtime. And let me tell you something. Here's the question: did Minnesota get their heart broken enough? They got their heart broken, and they played well. Listen, Minnesota played Ohio State very. What was it, 30-16? They played them very well. But I don't even care where the game's at. I wonder though, should I chance? And you know something? I just don't think Nebraska can lose another game. And you know why? Because Minnesota's simply not that good. So I'm going with Nebraska.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's with Jimmy on that one. Okay. What about you?
You got to take that. That's the way. You got to go for an interception, or you got to go dive for the ball, punt that guy, and you got to play 30 yards. Got to dive for him sometimes and make the play, man. Take a chance.
What did you think of the coach's interview of the game last week? Did you see his interview?
Yeah.
I was good. I liked it, man. That's good. That's motivational, That's motivational talk, man. I mean, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, but you know what? You still got to ask yourself what you guys do differently. And so it's not that he's not a good coach. There's always some element where they're not as prepared as they should be.
Yeah.
Something is missing, and he's got enthusiasm. They did his life. He's got a new life and a new marriage. And
yeah, well, that's not going to.
And you know something? I ain't mad at him for going ahead and taking the shot at them. I give him one more year. And I give him one more year because they're going to lose on Saturday. That's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nebraska. I'm sticking with it.
So you're picking Minnesota.
I'm picking Nebraska.
I know. I saw that. That's what I thought you were doing there. But I was wondering, like, who's going to get fired? Is it going to?
No. I'm not saying he's going to get fired. I'm saying we'll give him one more year.
Okay.
They're going to lose on Saturday.
Yeah. Well,
they should win. Listen, they're favorites. I'm just going to go for this one. I don't know if they can overcome another loss and say they're not Ohio State and sleep on Nebraska. And Scott Frost, he's hungry, man.
You're right.
And they got to get at least one. I think this is it.
I think you're right, Stefan. I actually got Nebraska on this one also. What about you, Yakov?
Nah, I gotta go for Minnesota.
Okay.
Oh man, are you serious? Come on, man.
I mean, they. I don't know what anybody has to say about. Hey, I don't know what anybody has to say about Ohio State, but they, went into halftime 17-14 against Ohio State, and they put up. Running back had 157. Receiver had 119. Safety had 10 tackles. Quarterback threw 2 picks. But I think they got something. They got something to get some points on the board. So
wow.
I'm gonna go with the Gophers.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I think Nebraska's going to win this one. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting game. Battle for the basements. Battle for the basements, right?
Wow.
Hey, we got
That's 2 games.
Yeah, we got this next one. I think Purdue's going to play Ohio State well, but it's Ohio State Purdue. Though I think Ohio State's going to win this one, and that's what Jimmy and DJ are picking. And I am too. I'm picking Ohio State, but I think Purdue's actually going to play a good game against them. I don't think it's going to be any blowout. I think it'll be a well-fought game, and I think at the end of the day, Ohio State just has more than what they have at Purdue.
Yeah, it's hard for me to gauge Purdue. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So who's Purdue playing again?
Ohio State.
Good night. Sorry.
Yeah. So you are picking
Purdue. Hey, big dude, it is a night game too. It is going to be a night game.
Yeah.
That ain't going to make no difference, Jacob.
I just have one thing to say. Purdue has the best looking uniforms in the country.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I like their helmets.
Oh my God! You can put them in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Oh, did I say that?
That's awesome. That's good. That's good. Well, then we got Penn State. We got Penn State, Indiana. I got everybody down here for Ohio State on that one, unless somebody corrects me. We're all down for that. We got Penn State at Indiana. So let me have your scores. I'll give you Jimmy's at Penn State 40 and Indiana 32. DJ's 45-20. And I came right in at 31-10 because I think they're going to play us hard. I think they're going to be inspired because they saw that, Penn State is vulnerable. They've watched the film. They've done their homework, and I think they're going to play us really hard. They want to beat us. They want to win. They want a signature win too. So I think it's not going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be 31-10.
Yeah, I tell you what, Coach, I'm going to go with something like maybe 33-16, something weird.
I'm going to go I'm gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna go 28-17. 28-17.
Wow, close one. Okay.
Yeah,
Lower scoring.
I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I can see that. That's a pretty good score, Cove, because I can see Penn State scoring 4 touchdowns and them getting a couple touchdowns and a field goal out of this. I could see that happening because it's at Indiana, and they want to win. They want to win. So it's not going to be an easy game for Penn State. It's not going to be an easy game. They will play us hard.
I'm saying the first half. I mean, I think you're talking like a 13-7 first half.
I think you're right. I think they're going to play. I think at the end we're going to wear them out, but I don't think it's going to be any high scoring game like we're seeing. Yeah, maybe could happen. You know, a turnover here, interception there, special teams play for a touchdown. You don't know, but I think you guys are right on with this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's going to be. My thing is, I would like, the receiver, to arise like the one on Michigan. How we've seen, I'd like to see one of the receivers, step up and, take control, so I like definitely that.
Certainly.
See somebody stand out, and just take it. Because it was close last game with the receivers' numbers. Nobody had 100 yards receiving, but they were, right around like 50s. Everybody was right around 50.
Right. Well, I think what I'd personally like to see this game, I don't know if I will, is just consistency, offensive, defensively, and special teams. And I'd like to see us be able to establish a run game and a sustainable drive where we get a kickoff and consistently just march down the field, as you see quality teams do, and be able to drive that ball right in. I'd love to see that happen, and one way or the other. I understand we need to pass the ball, and that's that type of offense, but I'd really like to see us establish a good, solid run game from the start and let them know, their defense know, that we are coming at you all day long like this, and going to force you to come up on us, and then we're going to beat you on a pass. So that's what I personally hope happens. We'll see if that does. And the fastest hour in college football, guys, that's pretty much a wrap. Anything for the better of the cause, or we could knock this one and put it in the books?
Yeah, Cole, where you got Cole, man? I mean, come on, man. You were the aggressor on a lot of this stuff, man. I mean, what do we got to do this week, or how do you feel about where we're at? Any parting comments on what needs to happen? Let's work with that defense, man. It sounds like you analyze everything. What is it for the defense going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I feel, I appreciate a big dude, but I would say defensively, I would like to see, obviously, if we're going to put our secondary in man coverage with no help, it's going to be tough. We got to get the pressure, but, it's one of those things. We live by it and we die by it. So, we just got to overcome, a couple things. But I definitely feel like the aggression is there. It's just, we just gotta put it all together. I mean, we just gotta put it all together. The defense has played well the last 2 games. I mean, like you said, a total of 4 points. That says a lot. That says a lot. So I definitely feel like we got to stand on something. I mean, I definitely feel like that's something. It's only been 4 points, so we can't get too far, outside, I guess, of reality. So, yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to it, bro. Definitely looking forward to, getting that taste out of our mouth. You know, we got to get that taste out of our mouth.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Definitely, for sure. We definitely need a big win here to get out of this one and move on to this season. I think we are still looking at a very good possibility of getting to a Rose Bowl. And, we just need to move forward here with this and, put the past behind us. It is what it is. Learn from it, lick your wounds and move on.
Yeah, that's what I say. But I would say that people also that haven't had a chance to make plays and other things, take inventory and just how much better we have to do. There's looking wounds, but then there's people that got to want to make the play. So we have a lot of playmakers. And I think we know KJ is a great one, but we have so many. All those guys have to be ready to make the play. I'm still waiting for Hopkins has a punt return for a touchdown. I'm waiting for him to have a big one in this particular game. I'm waiting for Juwan Johnson to take the bull by the horns. He's going to be the difference to make the change. I love our new tight end, our new freshman tight end, number 87. He's quite a player, actually, and he's been involved in he's played well. That's what's funny, Skip. He played better again in these last 2 games than he ever played.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, we're almost there. And finally, of course, as you said, you're looking at the offense, Trace, number 1, try not to do it all by yourself.
Right.
Trust the process. Trust your line. Learn, give him a reason to trust you so he can do whatever he needs to do. So if he needs to line up under center or do whatever, again, one of the best offensive lines we had in a while, and they have to know that, understand it, remember it, and believe. And that adds up to victory.
Well said, brother. Amen to that one. Well said. Well said. Hey, folks, thanks so much for joining us here. It's been the fastest hour of college football. It always runs late and long, but it's great talking football here with the guys. I love my teammates, part of the football family here at Penn State. So great job, guys. We'll wrap it up here. Lions Live for another week, folks. We'll be back here again next week. You're heading out to the game. Stay safe travels. Lord bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you so we can get back here again for Penn State football next week. So thanks again for joining us. You've been listening to Lions Live, Lions Network. On behalf of the big dude, Stephen Davis, the co-visual, my name's Skip Tribal. We'll catch you again next week. We're turning back to our regular scheduled programming.
And I think Trump wants to make sure that this momentum that's been built.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that I know on the Cruz campaign say they've been hovering in the 9-10 range in their internals, up 9, up 10 for weeks now. So we'll see. You mentioned North Dakota. We talked about it briefly on the program yesterday. Heidi Heitkamp